Hello viewers, you are welcome to T-Ben Math class. In today's lesson, we're going to look at a particular topic named unit vector and the vectors. When we say a unit vector, what is it? A unit vector is a vector whose magnitude is 1. When you have a unit vector, the magnitude, the length, the distance of that vector is 1. It is denoted by this, normally called a cap. Thus, if a cap is the unit vector of A, vector A, then the magnitude of a cap is equal to 1. That is the implication. The unit vector of any vector is given by the formula. So if you want to find the unit vector of any given vector, we use the formula. Unit vector is equal to the vector divided by its magnitude. So when you find the magnitude of the vector given, you divide the vector by the magnitude of it. That is a cap, assuming the vector we are dealing with is A. A cap will be equal to A divided by the magnitude. So A on its magnitude. Or we can use 1 on the magnitude of A multiplying the vector A. That is how the unit vector of any vector is found. We have the first example for today. And the example is find the unit vector of G, vector G, which is equal to -5, -6. So how do we find the unit vector of this vector? So let's see how to find it. G was given as -5, -6. Before you can find the unit vector of any vector, first and foremost, write the formula down. So the unit vector, which is G cap, will be equal to 1 on the magnitude of G multiplying G itself. So what do we need to do here? We need to find the magnitude of the vector G first. Let's see how to find it. The magnitude of any vector is found by using the formula x squared plus y squared, or in the square root. So going into the vector, we can see that the x component is -5 and the y component is -6. So by substitution, we're going to have in a square root -5 squared plus -6 squared. So here we will have in a square root, when you square -5, you get 25. Plus, when you square -6, you get 36. So by adding the two, you are going to have the square root of 61. The square root of 61. So this is the magnitude of the vector G. Now that we know the magnitude of the vector G, let's proceed to the finding of the unit vector G. So it will be G cap is equal to 1 on the magnitude, and the magnitude is 61 in the square root. In other words, the square root of 61. So you write it here, the square root of 61 multiplying the vector itself, -5, -6. This will be equal to, now the 1 on the square root of 61 has become a scalar. What it means is that you pick this, you multiply it by the x component, you pick the same thing, you multiply it by the y component. So multiplying 1 on the square root of 61 will give by -5 will give us -5 on the square root of 61. And then multiplying 1 on the square root of 61 by negative 6 will give us negative 6 on the square root of 61. This is in the component form. In other words, the column form. If you want to find or write it in the Cartesian form, this will be equal to negative 5 on the square root of 61i minus 6 on the square root of 61j. So because it was given to us in the column form, we can leave our answer in the column form. I just wanted you to know how this will be written in the Cartesian form. In other words, in the I and J form. In our example 2, we are to find the unit vector in the direction of the vector A, which is equal to 5i plus 12j. So let's see how this can be obtained. Let's write the vector given first. 5i plus 12j. I said anytime you are being asked to find the unit vector of any given vector, the formula should be written down first. So A cap will be equal to 1 on the magnitude of A multiplying A itself. So after this, we will move on to the finding of the magnitude of the vector given. So the magnitude of A will be in the square roots x squared plus y squared. So this will give us 5 squared plus 12 squared. After this, we will square the 5. Squaring 5 will give us 25. Squaring 12 will give us 144. Adding the 2 will give us the square root of 169. And to find the square root of 169, the answer will be 13. So we have gotten the magnitude of the vector A as 13 units. Now let's move on to the finding of the unit vector of vector A. Here we will have A cap is equal to, now we have 1 on the magnitude, and the magnitude is 13, so it will be 1 on 13 multiplying the vector that was given, which is 5i plus 12j. In this case, this has become a scalar, and what I said was you multiply the scalar you have now, that is 1 on 13, by each of the components. So you multiply by the first one and also by the second one. Multiplying 1 on 13 by 5i will give you 5i on 13, plus multiplying this by the 12j will be 12j on 13. So this becomes the unit vector of vector A. We have the example 3 on the board, and we have to find the unit vector in the direction of the vector u, which is equal to negative 3i plus 4j. So let's see how to do this. Now our u, which is the vector given, is equal to negative 3i plus 4j. We need to write the formula down. U cap is equal to 1 on the magnitude of u multiplying u. Let's find the magnitude of u first. So the magnitude of u will be found by using the formula x squared plus y squared, all in the roots or square roots. Now this will give us the x component is negative 3. Negative 3 squared plus 4 squared. Now this will give us 9 plus 16. And adding the 2 will be 25. And this will be 5 units. Now, having obtained the magnitude of u, which is 5 units, we will find the unit vector of the vector u. And it will be found by using the formula u cap is equal to 1 on the magnitude, and the magnitude is 5. So 1 on 5 multiplying the vector itself, negative 3i plus 4j. So the scalar here will be multiplied by each of them. So you are going to have 1 on 5 by negative 3i. And this will be negative 3i on 5. And then multiplying 1 on 5 by 4j will be 4 on 5j. So we have minus 3 on 5i plus 4 on 5j. This will be the unit vector of the vector u. Before we bring today's lesson to an end, I would like to give you an assignment or a trial question. The question is on the board. You have to find the unit vector of the following vectors. Solve, put your solution at the comment section. If you have really found this video useful or important, subscribe to my channel and like the video as well. We will meet another time for another lesson. Until then, goodbye.